BTC and 32E.
Welcome back, hard forkers, to episode 37 of 1 Bitcoin and 32 Ethereum. The show, along with my wonderful co-hosts, Johnny Gonzo and Stefano, has been trying to educate you on the space and do our best to get you to those magic numbers of 1 Bitcoin and 32 Ethereum. Today, we're going to be looking at the news, looking at the play-to-earn games we're involved in, which is 9 Chronicles. We've got a big update for you there. Let you know how our Axie scholarships are going. A few bumps in the road there that we'll discuss in the back end of the show. But like we do, people, let's kick it off with Meme of the Week.
This is how easy and simple it is to send a Bitcoin payment in El Salvador. It really feels like magic internet money.
Mr. Gonzo, can you bring up the project review board? These are projects that we've looked at over the last year. We keep a running tab of how they've performed, any sort of news coming out of each of these projects. We keep you updated on bit of a mixed bag.
We got big gainer last week. Axie block dealers finally moving a bit. It was
what's happening there? You're involved with these guys still, or what's happening?
I am, but kind of in stasis right now. Haven't really done much. We're waiting to hear back from Gameloft. I talked to my guy here, and he said that they're kind of doing like a fundamental restructure in the whole company. Because like Gameloft is a major game company, and they need to decide what they're going to do with NFTs. Right. So this is not just like our little game, but it's the whole company policy, right? What they're going to do, how their new business model, right? Because NFTs is, like decentralized, the players own their assets, right? So Gameloft is just like, this is not like a quick decision that they're making because they see the future with NFTs and they're trying to decide what their new business models are going to be with this kind of stuff coming up.
Cool. Moving on. Mega Bonk. Are you still involved with those guys?
Yeah, Sealsy calls me once in a while. We do a bit of work sometimes, but haven't done much lately. Honestly, like the last 3 months, 2 months. I have my head down and just so sheltered. All of this stuff is like news to me. I haven't been paying much attention. There's been a lot of stuff happening in my life and moving and stuff. So, but it coincided nicely with this epic bear dip. Man, we got wrecked on some of this stuff here. CyberFi down 83% because we pretty much received the top. DMM done. Ethanol. Did we get a swap for this, Stefano, or what happened here?
I got the swap. You basically like go on their website. Now they're called like Ethanol X, and they give like a swap. So the value that you see now, it's not accurate, obviously, because that token has been like discontinued. But I think that you need to like literally go on the platform and initiate the swap. I don't think that is like automated, or at least like in my case, I had to like literally send the tokens to a smart contract and receive the swap.
Okay.
Ethereum's had a nice little, a rather large pump in the last week. Do we know why? Any news out of that?
Sorry.
Okay, we'll have to. I hadn't actually realized that it happened, so I'll apologize to the audience. We'll look it up. The new addition here, people, is the Flex coin, which we introduced you to last week. We're going to be doing a review of that with the 3 of us, and actually 4 of us. So that donated value was actually wrong. It was $1,000 USD that was donated. So this figure is effectively the division between the 4 of us. So you'll have 4 of us talking about how we're using it individually. That's coming up later this week. As for the rest of them, yes, not too much to report there, really. Pirate Chain still up massively overall. And the uni trade out of nowhere has a nice little 9% move. I've actually sold my uni trade. I gave up on it, to be honest. But yeah, we will continue to give you any news that comes out of there moving forward.
Pirate Chain took a dip because it's lamenting the loss of our man John.
Yes, on that note, should we go to our first news story, which I believe is his wife's comments? Do you want to share that for us?
Old John was not suicidal, says the wife of the antivirus software magnate. Yeah, I mean, the guys posted it before, right? We said, I've seen a couple podcasts about this, and like one of them was a conspiracy theory podcast, and they started covering this, and they were scared shitless. They were like, oh, I don't want to talk about anything. There's like Warren Buffett resigned from the Bill Gates Foundation, right? All this kind of weird stuff is happening now. All this disclosure stuff, it sounds like. The seedy underbelly of some of the top echelons of society. And I mean, that's what McAfee said he was all about, right? Exposing all this stuff. So I don't know, man. I think this is going to keep going for a while. But Janice basically said John was not suicidal. She wants an investigation to see what happened. And it's amazing that it's on CNN Business.
Well, I simply don't trust anything that comes out of CNN, so it's I'm not quite sure why I'm sharing this particular reporting of Janet's comments. I've actually spoken to Janice a number of times. She's a lovely woman. They were a couple that were quite clearly extremely in love. So yeah, it's really disappointing that this guy is no longer with us. As we mentioned last week, love him or hate him, this guy lived an extremely colourful life and challenged many of societal's norms. Damn shame to have lost John McAfee, and I'm sure we're going to hear more on the story moving forward. Next story, Mr. Gonzo, what have we got?
China turns off its miners.
Yeah, so look, this is an interesting one. It's been debated in the Bitcoin community for as long as I've been in the space as to whether hash rate does indeed follow the price of Bitcoin, or is it the other way around? If you just scroll down slightly, what we can see here is that the Bitcoin hash rate is dropped off significantly. I think around 25%. Here it is here, 28% since mid-May. That's a big drop. So, a guy like Max Kaiser is very much an advocate of price following hash rate, and maybe the drop we have seen in price does reflect that. Other commentators, if you move down a wee bit here for us, basically says the opposite. Hash rate follows price. So in other words, if the price is dropping, not so many people are coming on to the network to mine. Still very much up for debate. I think we're going to need more sort of empirical evidence around this moving forward, maybe at least another 10 years before you could sort of clearly make a statement on this one. But look, it just goes without saying that China telling these miners, sorry, you're out of here, and it is happening. It's not just FUD. I'm speaking to people in Australia who are helping Chinese miners set up there, helping with finance, helping with logistics. There's also a very large move in Texas, I believe, where many of the equipment is moving to, and I guess many of the companies involved as well. So that's that. But I think we've got a couple of other stories on a similar topic. So do you want to move on to the next one there? So something that I've been asked a number of times here is what happens when all the Bitcoin is mined. So basically, we've currently got a scenario today where I believe 18 here it is here, as of February, 18.638 million Bitcoins have been mined. So basically, all of the Bitcoin will be mined by, I think it's the year 2140. It brings up all sorts of interesting questions about how the network will be secured. Often the Bitcoin maximalists I've spoken to said, well, I'm not going to be alive then, so I'm not so worried about this. But yeah, I mean, it will require changes to the protocol. There's often talks of increasing the amount of Bitcoin, et cetera. But you can imagine a scenario of number of scenarios, actually. It could become a scenario where as that network is maintained by miners, taxation of it could be implemented at that level. Or who knows? Who knows? It could, it could become a scenario where a Bitcoin transaction is in the hundreds and hundreds of dollars, and it's just large amounts of capital that are used to move across that network. Obviously, we've got the Lightning Network for smaller payments, a level 2 solution, if you will. But yeah, to answer the question of what does happen once it's all mined, I don't think we really have a clear answer for that yet, and it won't happen in our lifetimes. So we'll get back to you on that one. Any comments on that, guys, before we move on to the next story?
Bitcoin. Nope. This is, the eternal question. What is going to happen?
Might get a proof of stake. Okay, next article.
Massive inflation.
Yeah, so this one here, I thought I'd throw in there just to sort of reiterate. I mean, we've had so much Chinese photo over the last couple of months, but look, the reality is this is happening now. The Chinese miners are being shut down. They're making it extremely difficult for crypto companies in the region, and it looks like a lot of them are moving to Texas. As I just said, I'm personally talking to people who are involved in this. So yeah, and the exodus is well and truly underway. For me, this is a positive thing. If I look back to 2017, I onboarded a bunch of people to Bitcoin. China turned around and banned crypto. The price dumped. The people I brought in weren't happy with me. So a scenario where we're not having to deal with these ups and downs of what's happening in China is a much more stable environment for me. I think the US government is taking a much more proactive and level-headed approach to the space overall. So I'd be much happier seeing greater hash rate coming out of the US and other countries as opposed to China. So for me, look, yeah, we've had the FUD. We've bit the bullet here. We've seen the price drop. To me, time to move on. Things are going to improve on this front. Now, also, as I mentioned the other day, you've got to understand that a lot of these pools out of China, the hash rate was, in fact, coming from all over the world to begin with, because you were, in effect, joining pools. I see a good friend of mine, Alejandro de la Torre, is quoted here. What does he have to say? Although China's announcement hasn't been cemented in policy, this isn't stopping miners like Alejandro de Torre from cutting the losses and making an exit. In fact, I will ask him to come back on the show. He has been on the channel a couple of times, and he's one of the big players in the mining space. So we'll look to get him on in the next week or so for a chat. So we won't try and dissect it too much for you right now, but I guess the bottom line for me is I see this as a positive. Let's get Alejandro on and hear it from the horse's mouth. Any quick comments here, guys, before we move on to the next article?
One likely destination is Kazakhstan.
Yes. I actually know a guy very involved in this in Kazakhstan. Know him well, so that might be another guy to get on with us for that chat. Yes. More friendly countries. I mean, you've also got Iran, who have just issued 30 licenses to miners there in the last week as well. An interesting one, if you can move on to the next one for me. This one here is a little bit, it's interesting actually, because just 2 days ago, we had Mexican billionaire Ricardo Salinas Pelegio, who I believe has about 10% of his billions in the crypto markets, also stating that his bank would be accepting Bitcoin, has been thrown a curveball with a top Mexican official reiterating on Monday that a ban of cryptocurrencies in the country's financial system is coming on in. So a lot of the excitement around Central and South American countries making it legal tender. Mexico, definitely the biggest fish in that pond. Obviously, they're part of NAFTA, the North American Free Trade Agreement with the US and Canada. So I imagine they're getting a lot of pressure from those two over this. But yeah, as you can see here, they don't want crypto as part of their banking system. So we'll keep an eye on that. Moving on.
I mean, it said that, like the guy announced it, that his bank would accept it. And then like a couple hours later, the government says, no.
Yeah.
This sounds like Thailand, like every corrupt country with politics. The businesses are doing one thing, the government's doing another. They're not talking to each other. It's just whoever has their pocket lined the most. I mean, Mexico's
often how it works. Absolutely.
Yeah. Mexico's pretty well renowned for its corruption.
Right. Now, this is one that has really made me sort of sit up and take notice recently. I had all sorts of trouble on using Binance for about 5 weeks, literally spending hours with their customer support, trying to figure out why various emails were not arriving when I was trying to move funds off the platform. Wasted 6 weeks doing that, and just out of the blue, yesterday it started working again. So I can't make sense of that, but yeah, it's working again for me. Whether or not it's had anything to do with what is clearly a number of issues, we've had Mr. Gonzo's beautiful state of Ontario. I think we're sort of first cab off the rank to say no more Binance. They've done the same with BYBIT, KuCoin, and Poloniex. But the UK watchdog now has chimed in also, said that UK citizens can't use it because it's not regulated under the UK services. Well, it's not, Binance is just not regulated in that region. So, it's been the case for many a exchange. Obviously, the use of VPNs is how many citizens get around these issues. We certainly don't push that or advocate that on this channel. We do play straight bat, but that is how people are doing it. So up to you whether you want to do that. Not financial advice. But the simple reality here is, as this market matures, we're just seeing more and more of these type of situations requiring unregulated businesses to actually have the correct certifications. Mr. Kolovan, you're our legal expert here. Any comments on what you're seeing around Binance, the situation in general in the crypto space, and regulation?
Well, in this specific case, they're defining actually like a company that Binance has bought is not Binance directly, and basically like that
Markets Ltd.
Yeah, it's basically like the way that is done is that Binance has bought like a UK company, and that company is basically like having FCA licenses regulating product and blah blah and so on. And because they're part of like the same sphere, they kind of like put everything into the same pot. The thing is like what's going on here is the same thing that we're starting seeing in quite a lot of countries at this point. Like this scenario is becoming like way bigger. It's not relating only like on cryptos per se or on blockchain, but we're really living in a point in history where a lot of things, like where superpowers are really starting like playing the bully type of approach on a lot of these type of things. So we have had the G7 having like the global tax. Now we're having like still big countries that are obviously like going after offshore countries in the sense of like, the due diligence, the KYC, the MAL, the rules in order to like generate and create companies in general. We're having like Canada that is going like after the US, going after BitMEX. Then we got Canada that is going after Poloniex. And now we have like the UK, yes, that is going like on the Binance ecosystem per se. We're starting having like a crack of like basically everything that it's off the rail. Like if you want to do things like not in the traditional path, if you don't want to have like your traditional bank account, your traditional KYC, your traditional whatever, you are gonna have in one way or another to eat your head on a wall and, you know, either smash the wall and try a way around that, or you're gonna have to like accept the fact that these things are gonna happen. And, you know, we're gonna have like a scenario where things are gonna get regulated. Yes. You know, the example of the bank in Mexico and that the government banning that, it's a funny one, but we have reviewed and we have mentioned many times, because we're in contact with those type of people, that there are a lot of banks that are actually planning to introduce task on, you know, blockchain to allow people to actually buy financial products and so on. The US is looking into the ETFs on both like Bitcoin and Ethereum. Like there is that traditional path that is like in place to regulate cryptos and blockchain. The question is, what is it going to happen to the people that don't want to follow that path? What if I want to buy Bitcoin in a peer-to-peer way without actually passing to an ETF that is regulated by the American Stock Exchange? Right now, it seems that, yeah, it's going to be kind of a challenge or a little bit of a fight. So
do you think it's going to, do you think people will be forced to pick a side?
I'm afraid so at this point.
Real crypto or fake crypto?
Yes.
I'm starting being afraid of this, because I was always like, and I've always been saying this, that like we do need regulation. We do need governments to be on board with this if we want to have like a mainstream adoption. Otherwise, it's never going to happen. But this is a different question. We want mainstream adoption because of specific things. But if we're looking at freedom, if we're looking at, you know, the real option of actually like do what it's right for you, what you think is the best path for you, then I'm not so sure that we're going like in the right direction. We work with a lot of offshore governments, and I can tell you that a lot of people are starting having serious issues because of the way that things are changing now, because of the way that like big countries are forcing small countries to adopt or to be blocked and so on. You know, on-ramp and in-ramp on blockchain is basically going to follow the same path. What is it going to stop like something like the European Union to force Coinbase, if Coinbase wants to keep operating in Europe, to pass every single information whatsoever of every single user that is on that platform?
Mm.
You
well,
know,
we've just seen that happen. We've just seen that happen in Spain. We spoke about that last week. So do you think there might be a wider EU directive? I was actually surprised by that, because my understanding was that should have been more of an EU policy, not Spain acting individually on that.
It's a single move. Like sometimes it's against and sometimes it's positive. It is the same thing like Estonia or Malta back in 2017, where they passed like all their ICO's rules, and that was an independent move from the country. And then the EU stepped in and it was like, no, you don't do that. Here, they might actually be like, yes, okay, we're all going to adapt, or no, we revert that. The point of that is that we're really getting to a situation where these type of things are going to happen. It is clear at this point that governments are in need of controlling more, that they need to like tied up on the taxation, that they need to like have a surveillance on everything that is happening. For whatever reason, but this is the pattern that it's happening.
Yeah,
we're gonna get to a point where I think that in future there is gonna be a fight between countries, between big countries like that are gonna follow that classic model, the classic rule of like, you know, you're gonna declare everything, you're gonna be fully transparent, you're gonna pay taxation on everything, and countries like Singapore, for example, that are gonna be like, you pay only what you generate in the island. Paid up capital is going to be 0%, dividends outside is going to be 0%, and all of those things. I believe that we're going to see a very, very big competition in the future for countries that are going to fight and trying to attract people from a citizens or a PR status at this point.
Yeah,
with all of these things. And I don't know. It's going to be very tough, to be honest.
Yeah, it's an interesting one for me, what you're talking about there. You know, having lived in the UK for about a decade of my life, and Singapore for a similar period, I would almost put the UK in a similar category to Singapore, because not many people know, but the UK actually has the City of London, which has its own police force. It has its own laws. They effectively have all these treasure islands around the world, British Virgin Islands, Cayman Islands, and these places have been fingered as being massive tax havens. It's just my personal view that Brexit happened not over some guys been worried about fishing quotas in the north of England, but simply around the fact that they did not want to lose their what effectively is a financial services based economy in Britain. And therefore they've exited the EU. That's just my personal opinion on that. So it's also interesting now where I see the UK coming after the likes of a Binance. So it's going to be interesting to see how the UK, this new independent entity, approaches these situations. But they're quite clearly signalling their approach to crypto in the last few days with their statements on Binance.
Even there, things have changed a lot. Like, 5-10 years ago, you could go in a bank in London and be like, can I have like a bank account open in Cayman, for example? No questions asked. They would have done that like in the office, like there at the desk office in London. Nowadays, it's not the same thing. Even that entire path is changing a lot. UK in Europe or outside of Europe, the global tax on the G7, like cryptos on the other side, BVI and so on. If you're looking like all the Commonwealth countries, they're still having like a sort of relationship with the UK. Crypto doesn't. If the UK want to keep like that storyline of like the offshore and all of that things, crypto does not help on that path. I think that is going to be very, very interesting what is going to happen in July with the opposition in Panama that is going to try to have Bitcoin as a legal tender. That I think is going to be a very, very interesting use case for like all of this conversation, because we have like one, the canal that has been sponsored by the US. Two, Panama is the biggest offshore country in the world and is the country that creates the highest number of private limited entities across every other country, Panama. And it's on the blacklist on basically every single country. If you do have a company in Panama and you're trying to open a bank account, for example, in Europe, they will not allow you not only to open a bank account, but if you're trying to transfer money to a Panamanian bank account, a SEPA bank account would actually block you. That would not work. So the fact that Panama could actually open up on something like that will reopen the door on like offshore businesses. But on the other side, Panama has been sponsored. The success of Panama as a country has been sponsored by the US. This is not El Salvador, the US country currency and whatever. This is a little bit more serious as a thing. If the US is going to allow that, that's going to be like a very interesting scenario, because it means that we have like on one side a law that is basically like forcing against those type of actions. And then we have a back door that is clearly being created to allow people to actually go and take that back door. So I don't know. We'll see.
Shocking.
Yeah, look, it's something we're going to really follow closely over the next month. It's affecting all of us. Be under no illusions. What other stories do we have there, Mr. Gonzo?
Compound launches treasury for big firms to get DeFi yields.
Compound is like Aave or Maker, is lend and borrowing.
Yeah.
Well, what they are done here is basically creating an entire model for companies, businesses, where they're ensuring like a 4% yield with your deposit in stablecoin, basically. And it's weird but good, because like it's weird because DeFi is supposed to be DeFi, and this is obviously not a DeFi move. This is a centralized finance move, a bank moves. Like, you want to attract like the big corporations, the big like institutions. They give you the money and you run like your lend and borrowing things on the classic like protocols, which makes them like more similar to Celsius, I would say, from that side. So it's a bit weird because it's anti-pure DeFi point, but on the other side, it's quite okay, I think, because it's actually showed that DeFi can then mutate a little bit and then enter into the traditional financial sphere. Because now a business will be much more okay on basically depositing the funds into compound the company, compound like the DAO in the sense of like the foundation, most likely. And so, like with the KYC, MAL, and those are the requirements that there are on things like that. Question is, is this going to be the new normal? Like, is it going to be compound and then like Aave is going to follow? Aave has a bank license or like a financial license in the UK. They could do exactly the same thing, actually.
Yeah.
So, is this the new path? Is DeFi turning into like a centralized DeFi model for businesses? What then it's going to happen later on? Like, are the single user going to remain like full in DeFi at that point? Is there going to be like a sort of like a tracking of the IDs there as well and so on? Like, I think that this raised like a big question marks for what is going to be like the face or the definition of DeFi in 2-3 years from now, actually.
Yeah, I agree. And so it's if you look at the math there, obviously that interest rate, I think it was currently 1.4%, but obviously your yield also includes the issuance of the stable coin, which my understanding is that's how they're getting to this 4% mark. So it seems like a similar thing to what we looked at briefly last week on CoinFlex. We're still digging into the offerings out of CoinFlex, and we're going to get back to you this week with our thoughts and findings. Probably have somebody back on from that channel just to do a bit more of a walkthrough with us as well coming up.
I don't think it's the same thing.
No,
they're different financial products. I don't think that like CoinFlex isn't CoinFlex selling.
Well, it's a governance token. So here,
but
what
I'm
Compound
not talking about that. I'm talking about like the lend and borrowing mechanisms. CoinFlex does that on derivatives, on the futures, and the derivatives. Here is like pure lend and borrowing, from what I know.
Okay.
Compound doesn't do futures or derivatives.
Okay, I apologize if I got that one wrong. I'm still having a dig into CoinFlex's offerings, but if we can move on to the next article, it obviously relates to this. So yeah, the vice chair is basically saying yes to stable coins. There has been some pushback by the person sitting above him. I'm hearing a lot of other commentators talking in terms of stable coins are quite likely to be the dominant coins as far as market cap goes in the future. Obviously, the ability to move a stable coin around on the Ethereum network and create incredible efficiencies has been demonstrated. How that's going to plug into the existing financial world. There's obviously a lot of concerns from regulators around the backing of Tether that also pops up again in this article. So any comments, guys, on the future of stable coins, the role they're going to play in the crypto space, and if you want to also maybe comment on USDT, Stefano?
I think that this, to me, like by stable coin, he means like probably USDC, and that's pretty much it. Because the vast majority of the stable coins that are out there now are backed like by so many weird things that it's not secure that they're stable at all. Like, and we see that, like, wasn't the one that like Mark Cuban lost all the money? Was it even that like a stable coin? I think one of the two things. Like, stable coin are not actually secure in the same way. I think that he defines like a full backed stable coin. And so at that point, we're down to like USDT or USDC. But USDT, well, we know the situation over there. So we're left with USDC.
Yeah.
So I don't know, to be honest. Like, do I believe that they will regulate USDC? I think that, like we mentioned that before, like with the IPO of Coinbase, that seems to be like a quite natural path, to be honest. But if we're looking at like other things, I don't see that happening. If they regulate the stable coins that are like backed by DAO tokens, governance tokens, and all of that things, then they can easily regulate something like Ethereum or Bitcoin at that point.
All in DAI.
Yeah, but DAI is like majority of DAI is backed by USDC as well, so it's the same thing at that point.
Magic money printing on top of money printing on top of money printing on top of fractional reserve banking on top of corrupt governments on top of we're in a fucking mess.
Welcome to
and now we're
the
seeing
world.
Like this inflation expanding into crypto. Like crypto is supposed to be the solution, but because there's so much inflation happening in the dollar, It's just everything's getting blown out of proportion, and like there's value of everything is getting skewed. I think.
Is that, or is because we're just like greedy as hell and we're like speculating on everything?
Of course. Yeah, but that's where it stems from, right?
All right, guys. So it's been a week since we've made this show. Any trades of note, any movements in how you've structured your portfolio? I don't think I need to ask you, Mr. Gonzo. You've gone from being our most prolific trader to pretty much 100% Axie Infinity. Would that be fair to say?
Currently.
Yep. So I'll move on to you, Stefano. Any trades or anything of interest?
Yeah, so I bought back in the days the Metakey, which is an NFT that has utility that has been done by Metakey, DSL blogger who we got on the show. And he has basically like created this NFT, and he wants to basically have like these NFTs that has like a lot of utilities, and like the marketing says like one NFT 100 purposes. And so far I received 2 wearables for Decentraland completely for free that has been like airdropped over there, so I'm pretty happy with that. The value of the keys, not gonna lie, has been like double or triple actually since I bought that, so I'm pretty happy. They sold out edition 3 in 24 minutes, I think, or even less, so that is turning out to be like a quite interesting project in general. On top of that, back in the days, I don't know if you remember, but we have done the Metakey, which was the one that like we also like did the live stream. We've reviewed that a couple of times and so on. It took them an odyssey of time to literally like airdrop the prices and everything, but they finally done that. So I got airdropped some Metakey token. Back in the days, I got airdropped some whale tokens and some Terra virtual token. This week I got airdropped on top of the Metakey the Paint token, as well as some Play token as well. So, and plus of course like all the NFTs on top of that and everything. One of those things, by the way, and that's like was one of the funny thing that like when we were talking about that, and I mentioned that I got $1,000 in worth of prices, I remember Jordan mocking me on that. And I managed to sell a Squiggle, which is an NFT that I bought, that I won, sorry, for $500. So 50% of that thing has been done. And if you're looking at like the tokens and basically like what is being airdropped on the ERC20, that would be another $300 worth of value. And then there are like all the other NFTs. So an $800 profit so far from that event, plus some other NFTs that I still have. So yeah, pretty good. Getting free stuff as per usual, no trading, but just accumulating.
Very good. Very good. Speaking of free stuff, I'm off to get a new PC today so I can mine the 9 Chronicles Gold token, a game that we've covered on this channel. I actually purchased peer-to-peer some NCG yesterday. It's probably been my biggest trade of the week. Other trades, I got out of Kusama last week and actually moved that investment over to Polkadot. They've got their parachain auctions coming up. I thought it was a good entry on Polkadot as well. During that dip, I also bought some Algo and some more Matic I've added to my stack. As far as my degen trading goes, I'm in a long. Ethereum currently have been, I think, for about 2 days now. Got an entry there at 18,065. I never go over a 5% margin, people. I'm comfortable with that. So it's 4.8 as you can see. And I'm up just under 54% on that trade at the moment. So yeah, happy with that trade. Now, if you are an experienced trader and you want to help support this channel, we get a small commission from these guys. If you are in fact using BYBIT, So even if you are using BYBIT, please use our link below and just click on that and get back into your account so we get something out of it. Keep us going, people. That would be most appreciated. But I do stress this is for experienced traders. We know Stefano's thoughts on leverage trading. That's his prerogative. He does talk some sense on that front, which is why I say for experienced traders. I'm also obviously just looking so closely at the price of Bitcoin. We seem to be back in that range of a lot of support around the 30K mark. Hell of a lot of resistance. Currently at 35.2, so I'm hoping we get through 35.2. If we reject there, which we've done twice already in the last 24 hours, I'll possibly be looking to close this position. But yeah, I'm just waiting at the moment. If we break through it, I expect we'll move up to 40, possibly beyond. So that is how I'm trading, people. Let's maybe just have a quick look at the overall market and the big changes in the last week since we did this show. Who are the big movers? It's always some tiny coin you've never heard of, but this week it's Dogecoin. 44% up on the week. Compound, who we just spoke about, also up 40. BitTorrent, something we've had something to do with in the past. Shiba Inu, good God, 31%. And Internet Computer, it used to be called something else. I can't remember what it was. Anyone? Bueller? No. But yeah, that went up 30% for some reason. So unfortunately, in the top 10, nothing I hold, which is a rarity, usually pretty good. So I'm having to go.
I got some Decred.
Okay, yep. Decred was probably the second token I ever bought, actually. But yeah, going right down the list. Oh, Algorand, there we go. It's up 11%. Got that. Yeah, so look, that's been my trading of the week, people. I remain extremely bullish on the space. I'm back at a point where friends and family, I can't give you, the audience, any financial advice, but I have been telling friends and family, look, we're back at the same price levels from the start of the year. I'd be throwing this all in and doing something else if I didn't expect Ethereum and Bitcoin to succeed. I'll be here next year and the year after. I think this is a wonderful buying opportunity in my opinion. Do your own homework, as they say. But yeah, these are some nice prices as far as I'm concerned. Thoughts on those comments, guys?
Crypto good, government bad. That's all it is.
Okay.
No. There's some, the news is just so confusing what's happening. Like there's, you can't keep up.
I think it's all good. Like I'm taking like I mentioned a few times. I'm taking like a very passive, far away approach on like all the news, the communication, the information that is spreading around and everything. Because it's just like, one, I find that unhealthy. 2, stressful. 3, it's full of bullshit, to be honest. Because like it's really like. I really got to the point where it's like you can believe whatever you want, good for you. I actually really don't care what's the opinion of another person on Twitter, like shilling their coin or doing whatever thing that they can do. Like everybody at the end of the day cares only about like their P&L. My P&L is good, and I've seen where I'm making my profits. I'm not trading. I've never been trading. I don't go on leverage. I don't do this. I don't do that. Blah blah. And if you do that, good for you. Like I don't care. Like that's my point. The space is going at the speed that it's insane.
Yeah.
But in specific levels, while everybody's talking about FUDs, what everybody's like, the Hashrate of Bitcoin is collapsing 50% or whatever it's the number, when everybody's like DeFi, yes or no, bear market, yes or no, and so on, Axie has passed 250,000 users, and they're growing like in the past week. They've done like a 5% growth day over day.
Have you seen the marketplace stats?
Yeah. Yesterday they passed $10 million in volumes just like in a day.
In a day.
Like, come on, like that's the thing. While everybody's talking about FUD, bear market, and so on, there are sectors in this space that are booming, even without going on Axie, because we always mention Axie, and I don't think that it's fair, because like it seems that like if we go outside Axie for a second, everything is not going anywhere. Nine Chronicles Gold, the value of the token has increased of like what 20-25% on the week. Yes, it's true, it's not the 40% on Dogecoin and so on as we see on the chart, but it's been stable. That's the thing. It's not being like a roller coaster and so on. Nine Chronicles Gold is right now working as a better stable coin than actually some of the real stable coins. You get that on one side. You got the fact that like there are these projects, like as I mentioned, the Metakey that has done a 4x.
Yeah, just maybe stay on Nine Chronicles Gold there for a moment, Stefano, because there's some news out of that. I've got a hell of a lot of people asking me about it. We have a Discord group, so look, if you do want to learn more, please stop all your phone calls and your direct messages to me. Jump into the Discord community. Let's keep it all in one place there. We believe in this project. We've been bringing it to you for the last couple of months. And Stefano, do you want to just bring us up to speed on the news out of that decentralized game?
Yeah, so they have finally announced, let me screen share on that. They finally announced like their play to earn portal. And so in this specific case, it kind of like shows basically like all the different things. Let me bring this down for a second so you can see like the 100 coins and everything. So let's start from the bad side that I actually share with the team that I think is not the best possible thing ever. But in order to access this, you need to log in via your Twitter account. There is no other way. So you must have a Twitter account. The team has already mentioned me that, you know, they're going to add other things later on. They just like launched that. So they're still like tweaking all the bugs, the things that are not working and so on. But it basically like divides in like in two things. Number one is the referral things. So if you're actually going like on, well, this is the generic things. Obviously, if it's the first part, you can just like download that and blah, blah, and so on. But you got number one, invite. And so the way that it works on invite is pretty nice because they have used like some gamification into the referral system. So I can send my referrals to a max of 3 people, okay? And when that person installed the game, I receive 20 Nine Chronicles Gold. Now, when the person that I referred reached level 20, that person will receive 9 Chronicles Gold. I will receive 9 Chronicles Gold, making a total of 49 Chronicles Gold. But on top of that, I will also unlock an extra 3 referral links that I can send to people. So you got like your initial 3. If all your 3 friends are obviously like downloading the game and going on level 20, then you will have 9 referral links. If all 9 of them are going to do that, then you're going to have like 27 and so on and so on. So it's a pretty interesting thing because it means that at the beginning, you need to think how you're sending the link. Otherwise, you're not going to like go very, very far in the entire process. Once you've done all of that, then you have like download the game, you're into everything, you have like your wallet and everything.
Just quickly, Stefano, which platforms can you play this game on? Because
Windows.
Only on Windows, okay.
Yes, it's available only on Windows. By the end of the year, apparently they're developing a mobile version. So there is going to be something available on mobile sooner or later. But as of today, and for sure for the next like few months and everything, is going to be only and exclusively on Windows. So once you have downloaded the game, you have installed it, you have like your public key of your wallet, you will click on the earn part. In this specific case, you don't see that because I already done that. And you will basically like copy and paste, paste your wallet. And at that point, this view will open. These are the 6 tasks that are available. Some of them are obviously based only and exclusively on the game. For example, crafting your first item, buy or selling your first item, reaching level 20. So those 3 are obviously like you need to play the game. While joining Discord, their Discord, as well as like following their Twitter, that's obviously like a social media action, like back in the days of like ICO bounting and things like that. So you just like join there and you're easy. You can get like 40 coins over there. And then the funny one, I think, because it was very unique, at least like for me as well, it's these quits that ask you all of these questions about like how the game works. And I'm not gonna lie, I actually had massive problems on answering that, and I literally had like people in the I've done that on stream, and I literally have the community giving me the answers, because otherwise I was going like completely off track. And keep in mind that I was in the
Stefano about to be replaced as a community lead. Got the
that's the
wrong.
thing. That's the crazy part. I've been like in the pre-sale. I'm part of the community lead. I've been playing the game actively for 7 months, and I was not able to pass the quiz. So it was really fun. I really, really enjoyed that as a task, to be honest. But yeah, once you've done everything, you just like refresh. You will get your coin, as you can see, like on the top right. Now I don't know if there are like the free faces of us or not, but you will basically like get your tokens, and they're connected on your wallet. Now the things is that they're separated. You can see that, but they're not in your in-game wallet. You will need to basically like transfer that, as you can see from the transfer option over there, and then you can transfer those. So for example, because a lot of new players, and we've seen that also on our Discord, everybody has issues like on selling or buying an item at the beginning, because either they don't have the gold to do that because they didn't mine that yet, or they simply have items that are not very important to be sold on the marketplace. And so they're always stuck with that task in general. Here is pretty easy, because you download the game, you receive already 29 Chronicles gold, you can transfer that directly, and you can buy your first item because the minimum price is 10 9 Chronicles gold. So that's a good help to actually like get started and complete some of those tasks already. So yeah, that's pretty much how the latest thing that I have announced.
Yeah, fantastic. We're going to be having a even closer look at the game in the coming weeks. People, as you know, anyone that's followed this channel, we've made literally hundreds of Axie Infinity videos for a very, very long time, and you've all seen how well that game has performed. We're throwing our support behind 9 Chronicles now in these very, very early days. So not financial advice, but yeah, that's what we're doing. And you might want to check it out properly yourselves. I strongly encourage you to do that. Do your own research, make your own decisions. But yeah, heads up, I am increasing my position in that, and I'll be mining the token also. So lastly,
Sean is a whale now.
I'm not a whale. I think I might be talking to a whale though. So lastly, guys, Axie, I am on average giving away 2 teams a week. I'm looking to ramp that up. We've got a number of other people coming into the program with us as well. We're just fine-tuning the details around that, trying to find some more community leads to help us on that front. Shout out to the people who are currently helping there, the likes of Jazzy, Sia, etc., doing an amazing job for us. On that note, as I mentioned last week, there will be a new section of the Discord that'll be invite only, and that will center around the issuance of the hard forking token. It's an equity, not a utility token, but we'll be reaching out to the people that we want involved in that over the coming week or two. I'll send you an invite into that Discord channel. But really, get involved in this. Get involved in hard forking, people. We're really looking to build a much bigger team moving forward now. We're ramping up. We've got some amazing stuff coming up for you all, or primarily for the people that are very much involved in our community. So lastly, guys, I'm getting a few hiccups on my scholars being able to log in. I do apologize, guys. I'm trying to figure that out at the moment. I've also got those 2 additional teams coming out for the winners from the Friday show. They'll hopefully be with you later today, tomorrow at the latest. But guys, any thoughts on the state of play with Axie and why I may be experiencing some difficulties getting the scholars to actually be able to log in?
It is the growth, exponential growth, and the network's not keeping up. I mean, I think half the Philippines is playing. they've noted that if you play like nighttime hours at the Philippines, it's a lot easier. So because we're in a similar time zone to the Philippines, you have a tough time. It's like rush hour. So you could suggest your scholars to play non-Asian times. That might help a lot. But, it's mostly with the game. Everything, on the server works fairly well. The marketplace isn't bogging down. The breeding is a bit slow sometimes, but
I'm glad that is for you. For me, it's like the marketplace and like the transfer
Really?
of XC as being a nightmare. The loading page of an XC like as being insane, painful.
really.
Yeah.
I was getting that a couple days ago for like a couple hours, but I don't know.
But that's the thing. Like in one way or another, in some points or another, we are all having issues because of the server. Like in my case, it's like, for example, the loading, the transfer, and so on. Sean has the problem like with the QR code. You probably have like the problems with like, I don't know, playing arena or matches or adventure, whatever.
All that stuff.
Yeah.
Just gotta be patient, I guess. Wait, but seeing the marketplace like in 2 months. Like I remember that.
Oh, it's not an issue with the QR code I'm sending because I sent them fresh QR codes yesterday, and they're still telling me they can't log in.
Yeah, that's normal. That's normal. It's because the servers are being like under maintenance and worked on like constantly.
So as the manager, do I need to keep sending a new QR code?
Yeah, of course. Yes, absolutely. If the QR code expire, you need to send it
Okay,
again.
but this was like
sometimes.
10 minutes after they got new ones from me.
Yeah, that's fine. That's fine. It works. It happens sometimes.
But
if there is a maintenance happening exactly there, it means like that's it. You need to redo
also,
that.
they said the last patch that it was tough for people to log in again because you have to tell your scholar to log out of Mavis Hub, log out of Marketplace. You have to do the same thing, log out of your Marketplace, and then reissue the new code, and then they log in with the new code. You can't like be logged in both the accounts, like yours.
Right.
And
so if my scholar was logged in, I've logged back in, created a new code, sent it to him. But if he was logged in at the time, it won't work.
Yep. Exactly.
Okay. So all scholars, there you go. Please do that, and I will resend QR codes to you if you can message me when you're logged out, and I'll get that done for you. Okay, guys, short and sweet. Any final thoughts, comments for the audience, Mr. Gonzo?
Not really, man. It's all good. Just plugging away.
Okay, Stefano?
Earth shattering over here.
Same. All good. All good.
Plugging away. Very good.
We had our first banning, which is kind of interesting, right, Stefano?
Yeah, yesterday.
Bang!
So yesterday I had to ban a multi-accounting that got reported once again, proving how important the community it is. The community has reported. So like this kid, what turns out is that like this person was kind of like I don't know, like talking in private with one of the members of the community and mentioned that like his mom's account in reality was just like playing both of them. And the community, honestly, and that was like a very, very nice gesture, has reported that, has provided a screenshot. And so we had to make the decision of obviously like banning. This is like
what are your rules when that happens? Do you keep the SLP that person had earned? Do you still pay it to them, or do you just tell them to fuck off?
So that is like one of the ongoing debate, as well as like with other managers that I've seen in other Discord, because everybody asked that question because it's a tough one. So I do not disagree with people that goes like with a strong approach with that and are just saying like, I'm not giving you anything because you actually went against the rules. And let's remember that like if he gets, these people are in need, okay, fair enough. And maybe they're super desperate. Maybe they're like in a life situation that is like super, super tough, and they're doing these things out of desperation. Fair enough, but they're putting your assets and your money on the line. If your axes are actually getting banned, you're looking at like $6,000, $8,000 worth of a team that is being banned, and it's just stuck there. The damage, the economical damage, is yours. So some of the managers I've seen being like, no, I keep the SLPs and so on, and I understand that. In my specific case, because I don't want to have like bad blood or anything like that, I just send it the SLPs And I was like, I don't want people to say that like, I'm being like taking advantages or anything like that. I'm not doing this to like, gain anything at the end of the day. I'm doing this to actually like help. But I also don't want to be treated like a fool, because then it becomes like a little bit silly, obviously.
Okay.
But yeah, no, I've sent the SLPs in the end. I didn't get them.
Okay, well, to my scholars, please don't put me in that situation. I'm really trying to help people out here and be fair. So, I obviously reserve the right, not if you get my account paid, I do reserve the right to retain that SLP. I'll let you know that now publicly. But yeah, just let's not go down that route to begin with at all. Thank you. Okay, guys, thank you for your time, people. Thank you to everyone for watching. I've got more teams on the way for you today, and I'll get the logins resorted for you. Please follow those instructions we just went through. And yes, we'll see you back here with these two guys for our live show on Friday. You need to be in that stream if you want a team, but comment below and in the Discord if you are looking for a team. As I've made it very, very clear, I want to allocate my teams to the people that do support the community. And as you see, I'm noticing who they are. They're the ones I'm giving teams to. So pretty simple.
And the best jokes. And the best
no more jokes. No more. Well, you can tell some jokes if you like. Okay, they are a great community in general, so it's disappointing to hear there was one bad egg in there. But as you mentioned, Stefano, some people might be in a desperate situation. I fully appreciate that as well. So, we're just trying to be as fair as we can right across the board here. All right, thanks for your time, guys. Thank you for watching, everybody. We'll see you back here tomorrow. If you're interested in technical analysis, I'll be back here with Baloo, with Jesse and Leanne on Thursday, and back with these guys on our live show on Friday. So thanks for watching, everyone. Enjoy your week. Cheers out.
1 BTC in 32 weeks.